Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Marcus, and
Hey,
it is
everybody.
time. So this week we're going to talk about who would win in a fight, Batman or Captain America. And since nobody really knows when I'm going to be live anymore, because I'm always changing things, we'll just talk nonsense for a while to see if anybody filters in.
Oh, sure. So,
So
so
first
let's
off,
see.
here's the invite. It's an open invite. You guys know the rules. Have your camera on. Unless I know you really well.
I do. Of all the rules you have, I agree with that one the most.
Yeah, it
It
just
is
keeps
really distracting when you're a fan and you're watching somebody and you can't see their face. It's really aggravating.
well, because to me this is a proxy for conversation. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to talk. We're not a confession. I want to see if
Not a confession. No, we're not. I think I have something to confess.
yeah, we all do. We're all sinners.
I
And
confess.
also, I'll pick up Heroic Tales 2 now before I close down this site. I'm going to close down this campaign and I'm going to open up another campaign that's just going to be like a permanent store. I was talking with Luke Stone because Fund My Comic, you're allowed to have two campaigns open, but my merch store is not going to count against that because it's already fulfilled. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
it's,
that's
not,
fantastic.
it's a
Great
store,
idea.
it's not a
Great
campaign.
idea.
So, and this might be the year I might have two campaigns at the same time. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to do Patriarch number one. Well, not Patriarch number one is
You know
about
that.
halfway drawn. Eddie is doomed. Tonic Bowl is sending me some more pages tomorrow. He kind of does spurts. Uh, I'm writing a Christmas story that I want to get to Renzo and like just get right on it really quick. I would like to do that really really fast. And this, I don't know. Does it count? I'm gonna be in Punchline, Giant Size Punchline number one. That campaign I think is gonna go live in April.
Oh, they're fun. They're campaign. They're
Yeah, Antarctic Press. They
crowdfunding
kind of have campaigns, and then after the campaign, they print them up, and then they go into
He
comic.
does Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, so that's going to be a Kickstarter and
Oh, that's
comic.
cool. Yeah.
So I'm considering myself part of that because I'm part of that.
You're part of that, of course.
I got a story called Rock in a Hard Place, and I like the story. It was tough to write, and make other people's characters seem cool and everything. My first draft was my guy saving his guy. He didn't like that. And we got Tony Grigo over here. How you doing?
Hi, Marcus. Hi, John. How's it going?
Good. I told my wife last week that you were at the Frontier Diner eating a cinnamon roll while talking to us.
Oh.
She got jealous.
Now, whenever you're in town, let me know, and my treat.
Yeah, one of these days. But just to make it, I'm going to eat White Castle mozzarella stick in front of everybody.
Yeah, we don't have White Castles here. I'm jealous.
We don't really have them here in Carolina either. There might be one random one somewhere.
They have crystals down there, don't they?
Yeah, they do in some spots. Yeah.
Well, just so you know, White Castle mozzarella sticks are the best mozzarella sticks for the price. Like this would cost like $20 if you went to a restaurant. But
Yeah, they got expensive.
they got real good mozzarella sticks for the cheapest price.
We
I'm
have
getting
Sonic.
right before your eyes. This
We-
is your calories.
We have Sonic, but I've never been to Sonic.
Sonic is good.
I have no.
Yeah,
I don't. I go to some. I don't really go to that fast food as much. There was one place that closed down. Price's Fried Chicken. And it's one of these old fashioned. It's kind of like the soup Nazi of fried chicken.
Oh yeah.
You have to go with cash, and it was in the city, so uptown they call it. And so there were two buildings in the middle with Prices, and you'd have to wait in line. And every time the kids would come for Christmas, we'd go to Prices, and it's just bring it back. It's like 20 degrees. It's cold. It gets cold sometimes. And they closed down. COVID basically killed them. He was like ran out of patience.
There's a place in Nassau and Massapequa called All American, and it tastes like McDonald's used to taste, and it's so freaking good.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I drove by it a few times because I used to go there as a kid. My friend lived down the block, so every time I visited him, we would, I'd sleep over his house. We go to. So I took my wife by, and we just was like, the line's too long because literally there's a line around the block.
Line around. That's what this place is too,
What?
especially at lunchtime.
but it's 5 minutes at the most. It's such a well-oiled machine. Like people
Yeah,
are like,
that's how this
just
was.
go. Like you'll be amazed how fast the line moves.
They had fried fish, like that traditional Southern fried fish and fried chicken. It's the best fried chicken I ever had.
I love finding like local places. Tony, do you have a lot of burgers by you, right?
Blake's Slaughterburger. Love that place. Best burgers in town.
Yeah. What's his name? Adam, who did that box set of cards. His stepfather owns a lot of burgers.
No kidding. Small world.
Yeah. So every time I talk to him, I'm like, just mail me a box of lot of burgers. Because I think they just did. They're in New Mexico, I think Texas and Arizona. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, Charlotte area does not suffer from not having like classic burger places. So
oh yeah, you probably got like
there's a ton of them. We have the place close to us is Bad Daddy's. It was Bad Daddy's the best one around close to me, but you could go to other places just like 20 minutes away if you felt like.
Oh, I'm sure you got
burger. We're just getting a Whataburger. We're like, what do we need a Whataburger for?
Yeah, I mean, same with New York. You could go to any local bar.
Although the best Bobby Flay's burger in Philadelphia was the best burger I ever had.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was taking my son to see colleges.
There's a couple of like there's a place called Burgerology, and it's like a high-end burger place. And
yeah, that's what like Bobby Flay's.
Really good, but it's like $20 a burger. It's like, is it? Ultimately, it's just a burger after all.
Bad Daddy's didn't get that high, but it's just a little better than this other place, Burger 21, which isn't bad. It's we have a ton of those places.
Although Tony, what's it called? I keep saying Bob's Burgers, but that's not it.
Yeah, Bob's Burgers.
It is Bob's.
The cartoon. Yeah,
Bob's Burgers. Oh man, there was one in Rio Rancho that I used to go to because there was a girl behind the counter that was just so cute. She's cute, tiny, cute Hispanic girl, and we would just go there and like, you ask her out. No, you ask her out. No, bunch of losers in college, and we'd get the Ranchero burger. And oh my God, do they still have that?
Oh hell yeah, home of the Ranchero. Oh yeah.
And the taco burger, they would take like a burger, cut it in half, and put it in a. Oh my God!
I like that. That sounds.
I used to be able to eat those all the time, because I've gotten older. Heartburn. They give me heartburn so
I
much.
take medicine for heartburn. I don't get it anymore. I get it. It's prescribed, so I don't even pay for it. And like that solves everything. Gave me heartburn, bananas, pizza, everything. And now I'm good.
I'm pretty good. My wife laughs at me. She's like, "You can eat garbage." I nothing bothers me. Now
nothing bothers me. I was terrible.
My other favorite thing is just getting a bag of tortillas from the Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
So they still have that machine. The Frontier Diner has this. They built it unique. Somebody designed it. It takes like a ball of dough, and it does it and makes the tortillas. And I remember there was a girl that was all she did was make tortillas all day long, and she was another beautiful girl. We were always like, let's go. Nerdy college guys couldn't girls. She couldn't possibly be there anymore. That was 20 years ago. I mean, maybe she is. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe she is. Tortillas for 30 years. So we got a comment already. First off, let's. This is an open invite. Anybody's welcome. We're just filibustering, Tony, till people show up.
That's fun.
So, open invite. Anybody could come in. If I don't know you too well, then you got to have a camera. It just keeps up shenanigans. And as I was saying to Tony, saying to Marcus when Tony showed up, if you back on this, I honor my campaign, so you'll get like cards and whatever stickers I have left. I'm running out of stickers. But when I shut this down and I open up my other site, it's going to be a store, and that's going to be open forever. That way I can print up cards and go to conventions and always give like a QR code, because now I'm stuck with half a box of cards to this site. You know what I mean? That if I put it in orders when I go to conventions, stuff like that, it's useless. So I'm going to open up an Eternal store for all my merchandise. Every time I order something, when the campaign is over, I'll shunt it over to the Eternal store. That's what I was saying. And we got, like I'm pronouncing this name. I'm just going to say Vinzinger. Vin says, Sup amigos. My bet is that Batman is going to win. If Batman is going to have contingency plan for Kryptonians, Amazonians, metahumans, gods, then he'll have contingency plans against super soldiers. Marvel super soldiers like Cap. I'm not going to comment on this yet until
that's for later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. We'll get to that later.
I'm going to be heading to the Albuquerque Comic Con tomorrow.
Oh, you are? Where is it located?
There's a bunch of celebrities. It's a celebrity petting zoo now, but they have Tom DeFalco and they have John Romita Jr.
Oh,
so I'm going to take a couple of Spider-Mans to get signed.
Tell him, hey, John, I'm on John's Long Box show every Friday night. You know, I hope Tony remembers me. I hope John JR remembers me.
I was there too. I was looking at who was there. There's still a bunch of comic people there.
Somebody sent me a link and I misread it. And it's what I thought the link said was Dark Horse Comics is hiring a vice president. But it really is Dark Horse Comics is hiring a vice president in charge of marketing. So I actually made a resume and submitted it. And then I read it again. I'm like, oh, it's marketing. I'll be.
You can fake it till you make it. Come on, let's go.
Just to, and I was like, so I'm at work thinking like, what would I do as vice president of Dark Horse? Like, you know, I know it's never going to happen, but we buy lottery tickets thinking we're going to win, right? So this is what I'm daydreaming of. And I was like, yeah, Wolfram Batsy goes to Dark Horse. Horace H. Hoover goes to Dark Horse. You know, saving the universe saving the world goes to Dark Horse. Tonic Bolt's comic. You know?
I don't know how it would be. They're still based in Portland, right? They're still very much social justice, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's funny because this said Michigan, so I wonder if they have corporate.
Okay.
Right? Hey, and Arkham is here. How you doing, Arkham? Good to see you.
Hey, John, you should try to get what was the name of the guy that created Dark Horse? Mike. Yeah, you should see if you could get him on.
What's his name? Richardson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny thing about him is you know the woman who runs the comic book store. Why am I blanking out on the name of the comic book store? That Liz runs. Don. Yeah, he took Liz out on. They went out on a couple of dates.
Oh.
Yeah, so because they were the distributor for comic books. Don's Books was a comic book distributor at one point. You know, back in before Diamond put everybody out of business. So, you know, see if she could get me in touch with him. I'd talk to him. I'd talk to anybody. I've been kind of lax about getting pros lately because of my work schedule. I sent out.
Have you read The Crow yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
I got to send you my absolute edition. I have 2 copies of it. I should send you.
I'm reading The Scarlet Pimpernel.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I'm reading that, and then this is next. I got a stack of books to read next. The only reason this is before the Shadows because I already read 2 Doc Savage books, and I want to keep reading it while I know who the characters are. You know. So anyway, I'm waiting until like 15 minutes before we start talking about this. Anything, Marcus? Anything you want to say?
I just got this in the mail.
What's that?
The ash can for the Canadian Shield.
Oh,
and
cool!
He bought my cover. He made my drawing that I did on the studio as a cover. Rick.
That's your drawing?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, cool!
Nice, Marcus.
I'm jealous because I wanted to be the first person to have your work published in color. Now somebody else.
I've been in color before. My first was in color, so it's all right.
Okay.
You're not the first one. I just don't get colored that off. I don't color my own stuff. Yeah, he was on the studio. Rick, I forgot his last name, and he does the Canadian Shield, and he's got this great, like, silly, goofy thing. The comic idea isn't bad. Isn't great, but so we drew it again. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's just a giant character, and he does have legs, by the way, but he covered them up. And he contacts me like a week later. Hey, can I use that and I post it out like I post all the drawings. Can I use that as a cover of my ash can? He goes, sure. He goes, how much? So he met the price, and I wasn't too expensive for him. And here it is. And these are comps. I didn't buy it.
Oh, cool.
And he sent me issue 3 and a bunch of cards. So that's pretty nice. That's always nice. I mean, not a lot of people backed it, but he keeps on.
Oh, the guy who owns Villains Vigilantes, he owns Fantasy Games Unlimited. Yes. And he said that he was going to advertise Heroic Tales on his game site because I keep talking about Villains Vigilantes. He basically said the only reason anybody's still interested in that game is because you talk about it. You know,
that's cool.
It's a 60-year-old role-playing game that nobody plays anymore. So I forgot about it, and I checked. I'm like, it's not there. So I emailed him, and he sent me back. So I said, I'm also thinking of making a source book. Like, I'll do all my characters and make like a module, and I'll make it magazines. I'll do it all. I'll crowdfund it and everything like that. So he didn't specifically say yes, but he didn't say no. But he said, send me your comic. He goes, I'm going to send you all the V&V stuff that you don't have. So I listed all the stuff that I didn't have, and we'll see. So that'll be fun. Maybe I don't want to do it yet because I don't have enough characters to fill out like a supplement. And if I did fill out, I'd have to give away too much information about characters that I don't want people to know backstories about yet. So maybe a couple of issues I'll make up. So I immediately reached out to like Fabrizio and Brian Bow and Dave Brink to see if they wanted. And Brian Christa, I was like, yeah, I want. So Six Gun Gorilla.
Yeah, I bet he wants to do that.
So that'll be fun.
Should buy it. You should ask him if he'll ever sell it. You should buy it.
Buy what?
The Villains of Vigilante.
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's been for sale since like the 2000s because there's a Jeff D and Jack Herman created the game, and then brought it to Scott Bazaar, who owns Fantasy Games Unlimited. Now, Scott Bazaar laid out the money and published the game, and then Jeff D wanted later, and the game's dead. And then literally, I've been talking about it for 20 years, and somewhere around 2010, there was like a bump of interest in this game, and I take all the credit for that. Jeff D came to my site, and and employees of Fantasy Games Unlimited came to, and they started fighting. And next thing you know, there's a lawsuit, and both sides are. I'm like, I don't want to get involved in your lawsuit. I just want to play a freaking role playing.
Isn't Jeff D prickly guy?
Yeah. He threatened to sue me. I'm like, you sued me? What the? If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even. This would be how many dead role playing games are there? So he was a jerk, and whatever. So when I started making my game, Jeff D emails me out of the blue. I haven't talked to him in 15 years. I still own Villains Vigilantes. You need to. I said, no, you don't. You lost the lawsuit. Don't lie to me. You lost the lawsuit. And Scott Bazaar gave me permission. That was the last I heard from him. And then I went on Blue Sky the other day, and I invited Jeff D up to my channel to talk. I just think it would be a funny talk.
You went on Blue Sky.
He's such. I have an account. If anybody follows me on Blue Sky, John's Long Box.
You know what I say about Blue Sky, don't you?
What?
Blue Sky's for pussies.
It is. It's the worst. It's the worst. But I go there. I go there to find some comic pros to invite them on.
I know they're all there. There was Jerry Ordway made a big virtue signal. I can't stand this anymore. And I love Jerry Ordway, right? Love his work.
Me too. I love Jerry
Ordway. It's influential to my work. And when I went on his thread, I don't care the politics, but I don't want to read it either. And I was just so disappointed. And then it colors my view of his work too. And I just said, Blue Sky is for pussies. When Mike Zack, I said, Blue Sky is for pussies. That's like the most nastiest thing I put out on social media.
Yeah, I can't believe you said that.
It.
I think it's the first time I've ever heard you say any like dirty words.
No, I don't. It's funny. I do curse. Like my wife goes, "You curse too much," but when I hear somebody curse on YouTube, like every other word, f. Some of the guys are okay, and some of the guys are really bad. I'm like, do you use that language for your children? Would you stop that? It's really distracting. No, I don't like it.
It's funny now that my wife.
I'll curse all day.
Me and my wife used to curse like sailors. Now she doesn't anymore. And
my wife doesn't curse much.
Church, I don't want to curse in front of her anymore. I still do.
My wife, I'm bad at home, but like I don't like to type that much. And I don't do it on. I like this is a show. You shouldn't curse on this show. Why would I do that? I don't see the point of cursing on the studio. I don't see the point of it. I just don't do it.
I try to make it family. I try to make it family friendly, and I don't want to correct guests.
I don't. If they curse like they're doing a long live stream, the guys, whoever does it, whatever you do, and they curse sometimes, that's not that big a deal. But it's when it's in every sentence for almost no reason. That bothers me.
Like you're in a Quentin Tarantino film where it's the F-bomb every other word. Yeah, I guess.
Right. No, I don't like that. It's worse when a woman does it. Oh, it's really bad. Yeah. It's just certain things. I'm old,
Yep. All right. So, it's been 20 minutes. If anybody who's going to show up would have been here by now. So we'll talk. So again, it's clobbering time. And tonight we're going to take Batman versus Captain America. And as usual, if one gets prep time, the other gets prep time. So I've always thrown the prep time out of the window.
Deal with
prep time. That's his main superpower.
Yeah, but like Spider-Man gets prep time too. Like Peter Parker doesn't play. Captain America doesn't set up plans. You know what I mean? Like people, Batman is like the god.
It's as smart as anybody there is in the Marvel universe. So if he had prep time, he could be Doctor Doom, right?
Well,
because he's super smart. The idea of these heroes is that they don't have prep time. That's what makes it exciting.
Right.
Doc Savage has prep time,
If Captain America, everything about Captain America is perfect. So if he gets prep time, he's just as smart as Batman. Maybe he's not a trained detective or anything, but he's in a tactical situation. But I will say this: given prep time, Reed Richards beats anybody.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And when he doesn't, when he has the prep time and he can't figure it out, Jack Kirby will draw him with the beard. He hasn't shaved in 3 days.
I always just throw it out the window because it's just like Ben Grimm will beat anybody with too. You know what I mean? Like if Ben Grimm knows he's going after Batman and Batman doesn't know he's going after Ben Grimm's going to beat the crap out. So prep time and also the typical version. I know it's been a while since I'm sure somebody could find a version of Captain America had super duper strength at one point. You know what I mean, Marcus? Remember that he could lift 50.
Yeah, that was in the 70s.
And then I'm sure could find a version of Batman where he has cosmic powers. We're talking the typical, and they have the typical equipment. I'm sure Batman at one point had access to a spaceship, but we're not talking about the typical. But I will admit there's more than one version of Batman, and I would say that there's more than one version of Captain America. So
I was going through my old Marvel universes the other day, looking through Captain America's bio. Apparently, according to, I don't know what he is now, but in the mid 80s, he could lift and press well over 2 tons. So I mean, I don't know if that's still canonical now, but that's what it was back then.
I remember him lifting 800 pounds. I
thought it was 800 pounds.
Yeah, I remember him being peak human performance. So, first off,
Frank, Captain America.
Frank, you want to come in? We were just talking about you and Six Gun Gorilla. If this is open invite for anybody, just you gotta leave your camera on. If anybody wants to come in, I like to talk to faces, not cartoon characters and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I would say Captain America is 800 pounds. At one point, they did give him legit super strength, like 50-ton strength. But
that was in the 70s.
That's not the typical Captain America. And then there was also a Captain America that lost his super soldier serum. To me, the question, Brian, you just missed it. I said nobody has prep time. Nobody has prep time. Because prep time is just the ultimate excuse. If Peter Parker has prep time, he's beating Spider-Man. I mean, he's beating Batman. Anybody with prep time beats the guy without the prep time. It's the to me it's just so silly. Wolverine with prep time beats Iron Man.
Hey John, do you remember in the early 90s? I think one of the last issues of Captain America that Gruenwald wrote. He wrote a couple of like I think it was 3 or 4 issues where Captain America was addicted to crack.
Really?
Yeah, he went to this thing and there was crack in the air and he really got into it and he.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You remember that?
He was earlier than the last ones he wrote. Captain America was an armor suit because he had some sort of disease.
Yeah,
and they just after Cap Wolf, all these crazy stuff that he did, 90s Cap. But that was like that big. That was that one. Actually, I think they created Crossbones during that time.
That's why I
Cure on
laughed.
Fire. That was a good series. It was like a summer series. It was a good. That was a good comic.
Can you imagine?
A stack of like this many Captain America comics that I haven't read yet. So that's got to be in that.
So many Captain America.
Can you imagine how dangerous that would be? Captain America.
Well, people like Grunwald a lot, but it's pretty wordy. It's heavily plotted. It's kind of dense. But people like Mark Grunwald, but he wrote it for so long. It does have its ups and downs.
I'm gonna just go on a little bit of a tangent here. Like I know they're supposed to say Captain America doesn't have any superpowers, and Batman doesn't have any superpowers, but I do think that the super soldier serum does make Captain America qualify as a superhuman or metahuman or whatever. Now it amped him up to superhuman. I mean, it amped him up to total human perfection. And I can't help but talk about role-playing games. My role-playing game of Villains and Vigilantes, it was based on Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm just giving you a little. So if anybody, I'm going to assume that people watching this are somehow familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. When you make up your character, you roll for strength, intelligence, endurance, wisdom, and agility, and you roll 3 6-sided dice. So you have a number between 3 and 18. It's statistically 9 and 10 is average. So that becomes the average human. So same thing for Villains Vigilantes. It's almost the same engine. So 3 to 18 is your standard numbers for your attributes. So I decided if you were perfect, that means you have a 20. So you have a 20 in everything. So if I was to stat out Captain America, which I did as a kid, he has a 20 in every attribute. That's the 21 arbitrarily is the beginning of superhumans abilities. So Captain America, so the super soldiers, whatever his stats were, they got bumped up to 20. But the average person can't get frozen in ice and survive for that long. So to me, that always meant like this. I don't know if anybody's ever said this, Marcus. Well, you both are encyclopedias of comic. To me, the super soldier serum is the thing that makes him superhuman. Like to me, its power is if Captain America isn't killed, he survives. Like he's not going to bleed to death. He's not going to, if he gets a disease, if that disease just doesn't kill him outright, he's going to live. I don't know if I read that or if I made that up. What do you think about that? Like,
I think he has superpowers. I think he's sort of like a version of the Space Marines from Warhammer.
Oh, okay.
I think that he's not Spider-Man level, Superman level. But I would say he's about 2 or 3 tons that he could lift and press, like the index said. But that's how I mean, he doesn't age, or he ages incredibly slow. He could survive getting frozen.
Right.
I don't know how. Does anybody here remember if he has like rapid healing?
I'm sure.
He doesn't say he does, but he doesn't get hurt that much.
He was able to take off.
It's Olympic, the top Olympic, like Rayford Johnson. If you remember the kid, that was the decathlon. Bruce Jenner before, when
exactly.
And he was the top Olympic athlete, the top Olympic gymnast, the fastest guy in the world, faster than Jesse Owens type of person. That's like Captain America. So his everything borders on superhuman, but not quite superhuman.
If he was able to shake off crack addiction in like 4 issues,
well, that part of the serum does. They use that. Of course, it's Deus Ex Machina, whatever the writer decides he needs to have.
And plus, he has superhuman endurance. Like each person who gets addicted to crack is. I would
say that like
they're on the weaker end of the spectrum in the first place. You know what I mean? Like their stats would be low. So, if you had a 20 endurance, you're going to burn off crack addiction really, really quick. Because the average crack addict probably has a 6 or a 7 endurance. You know what I mean? I know I can't help but.
Do you think that I wish I had the Marvel Universe in front of me. like Marvel heroes that don't have superpowers stronger than Captain America? Like, do you think Daredevil's stronger? I don't think so.
I don't think Daredevil's stronger, but I think Daredevil's quicker. And then with his senses, I think.
Well, you know, he's the
accurate.
master. He's the master battle. Like, what did they used to say? Like, he was the, you know, he was like the soldier's soldier. He could do. He's a master martial artist. He just his style isn't the same. He's a bigger guy. Like, he's a big guy.
I think
Chris Evans is not that big, but
Daredevil, I think, is very underrated. You know, with all five of your senses heightened to that extent, like he can't sneak up on you. He can hear you. He can detect. He can anticipate where you're going to be better than anybody else. And then that radar sense, I forgot.
well, that's super. Those are superpowers.
Yeah, I'm
right?
saying Daredevil's
strength wise.
Oh, if it comes down to an arm wrestling competition, I think Daredevil would get destroyed. You know, by that.
Iron Fist is another one. I mean, he has a superpower, but he's normal strength. It's not. I'm trying to think. There's other heroes, of course. They're not. And I think that I remember when Black Panther was involved. He was the guy to me, like when he would not now with the enhanced armor that he wears, but when he had the black regular costume, that he and Captain America are kind of equals.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that because I hate this term and I can't believe I'm going to use it. My head canon that the super soldier is derived from the heart-shaped herb. You know,
right.
That,
so
that to me is like if I was to write Marvel or whatever, that's one of the things that what's his name? Why can't I remember the scientist's name that created the super soldier serum who got killed?
Ernstein. Ernstein.
Close to Einstein,
Yeah.
But he must have gotten some heart-shaped herb. So to me, Black Panther is also perfect body, like he would have 20s, but Black Panther's got the edge because he's got the heightened senses that Captain America doesn't have.
That's true.
So I think like the heart-shaped herb is cut purer than the super soldiers.
So I've read a lot of Captain America comics, get the showcases and all that, and it really does depend. I mean, gee, you'd think that Jack Kirby's Captain America has superpowers. I mean, the stuff he takes. I mean, there's monsters he fights, like in the middle of Red Skull, fighting for the cosmic. Red Skull creates this monstrous, like rock creature, and he's like blow for blow with this guy just because he has his shield.
Right.
Like that's the superpower that absorbed. And then they had to make it absorb the power because obviously, if you wore a shield and somebody hit it, you get killed.
Right.
Out of your forearm or something. And it just depends. What is it? I mean, he gets knocked around a little bit too, but I think that 70s Batman got knocked around more. Like if you read the Neil Adams, Daniel Neal Batman, he like every other issue, he's getting some thug gets him from behind. You're like, how does that happen?
I remember, I think it was written by Mike W. Barr in maybe the mid or early 80s, where Joe Potato, just a regular detective, beat Batman and left Batman in the streets, and this was like a fat smoking.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Guy, beat up Batman.
I mean, let's see. What was the regular Batman? He was really the regular strength Batman till Bane broke his back. Right? Most of Chuck's run and Graham's run. I think he was a normal Batman. And then after that, right after Dark Knight, I mean, they didn't even do it right after Dark Knight. Dark Knight's 87, 86, and then Batman Year One's 88. He didn't become the super Batman until after that Justice League run where they found out he planned how to kill all.
Right. I think he became super Batman in the 90s.
But after Chuck was gone, I mean, if you want to give an era to it, right? It wasn't while they were there still. But Denny O'Neil was editing it.
Well, I blame Grant Morrison.
Yeah, it's Grant Morrison, right?
What are you gonna say, Tony?
I was gonna say William Dozier made the Super Bat back in the 1966 series. He had a pill for everything. He had a spray for everything, a gadget for everything. Nothing could harm him. Nothing.
Yeah.
So that what Grant Morrison did was just turn it up to 11, make it ridiculous. But
I think it was Grant Morrison. I think you're right about the Grant Morrison.
I just, I assigned it to Grant Morrison, but I'm not 100% sure if it's accurate.
But it's around that time, yeah. But I thought that nobody really realized it until that, and then read all these issues, that Justice League run, when they found out he really was planning how to kill all the Justice
Mark
League.
Waid. Mark
And that
Waid.
was when Poe master planner.
Was that Mark Waid who wrote that, or was that Grant?
Mark Waid, the
I
Tower
think
of
Grant
Babel
Morrison
series.
ran that with Howard Porter, right?
Yeah, that was Mark Waid. Okay,
That's the 90s.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it didn't happen in Denny O'Neil's edited Batman comic.
All right. So what do you guys want to pick, Batman, or what do you guys?
Batman.
I knew you were going to pick Batman. I knew.
Pick Batman.
Okay, tell us about Batman. I'll get some images.
Bruce Wayne, the Batman, probably the world's greatest living detective, master of armed and unarmed combat, master of prep time. Essentially a costumed version of the Shadow and James Bond. He has the greatest rogues gallery on Earth, and he is the single reason why DC Comics has not folded into Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
And that's his superpower is keeping DC Comics afloat, right?
Exactly. Prep time and keeping DC around. Okay, I'm gonna choose a Batman. I could choose the Golden Age, but that'll limit me. I could cheat and go for the Bill Dozier from 1966, but that's ridiculous. So I will get the BTAS Batman, the Batman that everyone loves, the ultimate Batman. So, okay, he studied at the best universities. He then, in his early 20s, he walked the earth, studying at the feet of various detectives, various criminologists, various warriors. Ra's al Ghul. He studied briefly with the League of Assassins. He is the greatest hand-to-hand combatant, with the exception of, I would say, the Bronze Tiger, maybe, but the Bronze Tiger doesn't exist in BTAS. So I would say he is the greatest hand-to-hand combatant in his universe. Extremely intelligent, extremely manipulative, extremely paranoid, and extremely good at prep time. This man has got a dossier on everyone in his life and how to exploit them and how to beat them. The only person he trusts unconditionally is Alfred Pennyworth, the butler that basically raised him since he was 9. And there you go.
That's pretty good. So, like, what typical equipment do you think he has?
Oh gosh, Wayne Tech has it's a octopus with many arms, and basically his Batmobile and his Batwing are basically parts of the for the military wing. It's armored transports, armored all sorts of stuff. That's where he got his grappling gun, his utility belt. Has got pretty much everything you could ever need, from communications jamming equipment to lock picks to, I don't know, things that could help you if you were poisoned. I don't know, anything you need. It's like Felix the Cat's magic bag of tricks,
right?
Or John's character, the suit. Essentially, anything he needs is in that thing right there.
At least this magical suit is magical,
Right?
Yeah. There's another, like, if I was to play and Batman was one of my player characters, like Tony, if you were playing Village Vigilantes with me and you were going to be Batman, I would make you write out everything that's in utility belt. You know what I mean?
The only problem with this version of the character is he grows up to be a bitter old man in Batman Beyond.
Right.
That's the only thing I don't like about that one. But
I will say the Batman the Animated Series is my favorite version of Batman. He has it's a good balance of like all the other skills. I guess this is a good time to my theory of Batman, and it doesn't seem to get too much flack. So I think most people, either leave me alone because I'm a crazy person or they agree. But I always say this: there's a few versions of Batman. There's the Golden Age Batman. That's its own. The Silver Age Batman. So the Golden Age Batman is more like mean spirited. He was kind of violent. He had a gun.
In pre-Robin, when he was a killer and all that. Post-Robin, it's essentially what you're dealing with is the Bill Dozier Batman, but with less flair of theatricality.
Right. Then the Silver Age Batman was more hokey and campy and science fiction-y. And then there was what I call the Detective Batman, which is my favorite Batman. Which
Neil Adams.
Blurry. These lines are blurry, so yes, I'm not going to give dates, but I always say like the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil,
Steve Englehart,
Chuck Dixon Batman, and then there's the Bat God, which is the Grant Morrison till today. So those are my 4 versions. So again, we would have to do this fight 4 times, because
Batman has complicated history.
Right.
So because he was the Dark Knight, not for very long until he got Robin, and then they lightened until the 50s, and then in superheroes, then he was visiting other planets, and he had the Batman of Rainbow Colors, and we've all read those. They're all wonderful comics in a way by Dick Sprang and Sheldon Moldoff and all, and it wasn't until the new look Batman. That's when they decided to do the detective. When they had Carmine Infantino was drawing it, and they added the oval. What was the new look Batman? Well, his ears were short by then, and they put an oval on him. Whoa, brand new Batman, right?
Actually, you got that. He had the short ears from the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
He did have the short ears almost right away.
Yeah, the long ears was when he got the thing. That's.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Carmine never drew those. And they were still signing Bob Kane for the longest time, which kind of Carmine. But Carmine did not get paid, did not work for Bob Kane. Sheldon Moldoff did work for Bob Kane. I don't think Dick Sprang did.
It was a long time ago, back in I think 2010, when I met James Robinson. That's one of the coolest guys I ever met. So happy to have met him. He gave me a moment of his time, But I remember when I asked him, how was it like working with Bob Kane? How was it like? And he goes, work. What do you mean work? I showed up, I did my job. He put his name on my stuff,
Jerry Robinson did a lot of that.
And I was like, oh, I guess the stories were true, right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. I love the Dick Sprang artwork and the Jerry Robinson artwork. It's such a shame, I just that Joker face, that classic Joker face. Who drew that? Was that Dick Sprang?
Okay, Dick Sprang co-created the Joker. I'll say this, John. You have the Batman Chronicles. If you can dig them up, look at the art from Detective 27 to Detective 37. You see how ugly that art is. It is ugly. The proportions are terrible. Everything is just angular. Everything looks terrible. And as soon as Jerry Robinson joined as a assistant, that's when you see that the art immediately improves, and that's when Batman looks like Batman.
Okay, I gotta check it out. I put that box of Chronicles back, but I showed you. I got those. I love those. For those of you who don't know what Tony's bringing up, but DC for a while made these really affordable. They were like $9.95 or something like that. And they were just called the Chronicles. There's the Batman Chronicles, Wonder Woman Chronicles, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, and I think Aquaman. And their intentions was to just put these cheap, accessible trade paperbacks of all the great comics, all the old Golden Age comics in chronological order. So you read Superman, it's Action Comics, and then Superman #1, in chronological order, which just satisfied the crazy person in me. It was so, and I got like a big old box of them, and they just stopped making them. This is, to me, is the kind of thing DC. Go, make these.
They hate reprinting stuff. They hate their old stuff. It goes against their politics. It goes against social justice. They hate that stuff. They really do.
Good business is against social justice.
So,
Marvel, I gotta give them credit.
You both can't talk at the same time.
Tony and then Marcus.
Oh,
I
sorry.
give Marvel credit. Their reprinting is beyond, it's stellar. They have everything. Everything is reprinted pretty much.
Yeah. What were you saying, Marcus?
I was saying that Gardner Fox wrote those issues, and before they had to go campy because of the cartoon show, because of the TV show, they did like Batman really thought about a lot of. It really did. That established them. That's when they started calling him the world's greatest detective, like 1965.
Okay, so I never thought about this, but was Batman? I know he was launched in Detective Comics, but was he the world's greatest detective from day one?
He did.
Tony would know better than me.
A lot of detective stuff, but he wasn't as it wasn't marketed like it is now back then. Like I'll give you an example. In the first appearance of the Joker, Robin basically is sort of like the bait to find the Joker, right? But he coats Robin's boots, the soles of his boots, with this radioactive thing that, he has a special flashlight and he's able to see the tracks. That's how he manages to find him. So little things like that,
Right, but I thought that's when they did a lot of the world's greatest detective, like the Carmen Infantino, Shalamov era. And then it was just expanded by O'Neill. They darkened it. What Denny O'Neill and Neil Adams did. Neil Adams did it before Denny O'Neill. He was drawing Brave and the Bold before Aparo, and he made every script at night. Bob Haney had every script during the day because Batman was a night character. And you could even see the difference in the way he drew Batman. And then it was solid with Denny O'Neill. Then he was really brooding and tall and thin and athletic as opposed to big and thick. And they kind of wrote out Robin. They bring him back for some stuff. And that goes right into Steve Englehart. And Steve Englehart, Marshall Rogers is really the basis for Batman 89. Not Frank Miller as much, some of Frank Miller. So that's a really important Batman. But around that time, all that time, basically Detective Comics was almost going to be canceled because it would always lull down until something exciting happened in media with Batman and it would come back up. It's only like now in the last 30 years, it's been Batman all the way across. Batman and X-Men, always selling.
Okay, so Mark, you want to tell us about Captain America while I find some Captain America images?
Sure. Well, Captain America, as we know, is Steve Rogers. The origin is much like in the movie origin. He was a sickly depression kid and a young man, and he wanted to, join up. And he was 4F'd out of the army, even in World War II, because he was so weak and sickly. Bucky was not around like in the original origin, like in the movie. There was no Bucky protecting him. And they knew he was desperate to join the army, and they found him, and they asked him to be part of an experimental super soldier to create super soldiers. They were supposed to create an army of Captain Americas. Professor Reinstein, and they gave him a potion, and they hit him with the Vita rays. They finally merged it. It was told twice, either it was a potion or it was Vita rays, but they kind of merged them together. But the Nazis were infiltrated, and the guy killed Professor Reinstein, and there was only one Captain America, a unique individual. He automatically became the peak of human civilization, of humanity, of a man. There's most testosterone in human history. And he's always he used to be described as the greatest fighting man ever. Like he used to call like soldiers fighting men. He was the greatest soldier ever. He's a master at martial arts. He's a master at other hand-to-hand combat. He's had super strength, but he really doesn't have superpowers. It borders on superpowers. We talked about super endurance. Doesn't get tired. They get the top decathlete and all. And his main power is really his shield. It started as a triangular shield, and Marvel was going to get sued, or Atlas, whatever it was, Timely was going to get sued by Archie Comics, MLJ at the time, because the Shield originally who beat Captain America as an all-American character had a triangular shield on his chest.
Right, so there's his original shield right there.
Gave him the shield. And the shield used to get destroyed all the time. They used to get new shields until they decided it was made of vibranium and was indestructible, and nobody could break it, not even Thanos. But there's plenty of stories even in the 60s where he loses, his shield gets destroyed and magically comes back.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a few Avengers like that, yeah. And there was a time where Captain America, and I have this in reprint book that came out in the 70s, in Tales of Suspense, that Tony Stark put magnetics inside the shield. Now, you couldn't get inside the shield. That was possible. And it would come back to him by magnetics, but it used to come back too slow, so they got rid of it. Like, that's a typical Marvel thing. The better thing didn't work. So
Right.
And they had to have something with the shield because you would break every bone in your body. The shield can absorb powers of the Hulk punching it, and he survives. And
right. If I remember
planes, stuff like that.
When John Byrne did his short memorial run on Captain America, that's one of my favorite things about John Byrne is he always explains things in like a pseudo way, pseudo science way, magical science way. But they said the reason why the shield was round, so like, if Hulk was to punch Captain America, all right, the shield doesn't get destroyed, but Captain America's arm would go back and Hulk, and then Captain America would get crushed by the strength of the Hulk from the impact, but he doesn't. So there has to be something about the shield. So John Byrne said, you hit the shield, and then all that energy is just dispersed in 360 degrees. Everything is just, so it's just a little tiny impact. And I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, that was a good idea. Yeah. And they made it vibranium, which made a lot of sense too, because that vibranium would have that, not adamantium, but vibranium has that.
It was a vibranium adamantium alloy that can never be
like the alloy. Nobody can break it. Tony, go.
Oh, a couple of things. The reason why the shield was changed was because Archie Comics threatened to sue Timely because of the copyright infringement they felt with the shield. Secondly, in Captain America Comics #1, the secret laboratory where the experiment took place was a storefront, and it was called Roz's Diner, and Jack Kirby named that after his wife Roz.
Okay.
If the little bit about Joe Simon and Jack Kirby who created this, and he obviously punched Hitler. They were two Jewish creators, and they were very sensitive. When he was created before we were in World War II, significantly like a year before, and they had him already fighting Nazis, and they only lasted 10 issues on it, and it was groundbreaking work. Jack Kirby, except for the big, thick Jack Kirby with the cosmic powers, was a stretched out Jack Kirby. He was the only one other than Will Eisner doing this massive action where it's all straight. Yeah, exactly. Where he's like, even, his proportions stretching out. They would bust circular panels, bursting with action and vibrance. And they thought that, and the first issue sold completely sold out, sold 1 million copies. And the second issue sold 1 million copies. Like, we're talking Todd McFarlane 1 million copies, right?
Right.
And they had a hit, and then Kirby and Simon thought that Martin Goodwin was holding back money from them, which is entirely possible because that's what Martin Goodman did. He does not get the crap that he should get, that Stan Lee gets. A lot of it's on Martin Goodman, and it's money as opposed to creativity. And so they started doing side work at DC, the Newsboy Legion, Star Spangled Comics. And then somebody apparently ratted them out, and Martin Goodman fired them. And their last issue was Captain America 10. And then guys like Sid Shores and Al Avizin would do it. I guess Stan Lee would write some of them when he was a kid. I don't know. I'm not sure who else wrote them. I have to look that up.
But that's cutting off your nose to spite your face, firing Jack Kirby and Joe Simon,
Yeah, they figured he had the character. The character to Martin Goodman was more important than the creators. And Martin Goodman liked writers. He did not like artists at all. Jack Kirby never got a fair shake out of him. So when he leaves Marvel later, and everybody blames it on Stan, and it is partially Stan, a lot of it is because Martin Goodman did not give him the raise he was supposed to get, or the money he was supposed to. Same thing with Ditko. They did not get the money and the due from the publishers. Not just Stan. Stan took too much credit on himself, but he did. He was the first one. The only reason why we know these guys' names is because of Stan.
Yeah. I Stan is a complicated guy, and I lean towards forgiveness for Stan. You know what I mean? But I do think it was he wasn't the publisher. He ultimately answered to his uncle or whatever he was. If he just called him his uncle, or
it was an uncle by marriage. He never really was related.
Oh yeah. Well, one more thing I want to say about this was this is the first Captain America comic, and he's punching Hitler in the face. This was before America entered World War II, and we forget about this. Like, we retconned our own history, but there was a lot of people sympathetic to Hitler before World War II. Well, the American Bund Party, they were selling out a Madison Square Garden, and Charles Lindbergh spoke at them. Now, from what I know about Charles Lindbergh, he was an American hero. He admired the technological and aviation abilities of Nazi Germany. And also, we didn't know about the concentration camps until we literally had soldiers going in to the, you know what I mean? So in 1938, 39, we didn't know about any of this stuff. So, hindsight is 2020. So let me just finish this point. So when he read this comic, there was protests against Marvel Comics. There was death threats against Jack Kirby for doing this. It was, if you ever read The Escapist, I recommend anybody who's into old comics read The Escapist by Cavalier. The name of the novel is called Cavalier: The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, and The Escapist is the character. I got myself confused.
Michael Chabon, right?
Yeah, Michael. It's one of my favorite novels. Oh my God, it's so good. But they go into that about Cavalier and Clay, the Jack Kirby, Stan Lee stand-in characters. They had to go into hiding, because the comic companies were like, you got to get out of here. You got to get out. The American, and it wasn't until halfway through World War II that these Bundists quietly just shut their mouths and went away. Like, what's her name was, Margaret Sanger was like a Bundist. The founder of
Planned Parenthood.
She used to speak at Ku Klux Klan rallies and stuff. Like, America was a different place, and we did what's his name? FDR was talking about eugenics and stuff. We would it's close, and then the Nazis came and we retconned our past to use comic book language. What's up, Tony?
Hitler. Everyone forgets. He was the Time Man of the Year.
Right.
For, I think 1936 or 37. So he's on the cover. People forget about that,
Right. Yeah.
80% of Americans were against going into World War II before the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Absolutely.
The bombing of Pearl Harbor turned everybody around, but we've never had really a stomach for any of this. And if there was any, it wasn't until we don't really know what really happened in war until Walter Cronkite decided to show it on the evening news, which is the ultimate anti-war, destroy the right-wing side of the thing, and we've been suffering for that ever since.
Also, during World War, in the 30s, there was a lot of World War I veterans who were messed up, and people, I don't know the exact number, but I do know at 1900, 1 out of 4 male Americans had wounds from the Civil War. Still, it was bad, and then World War I was, I think, the most horrible war.
It's a brutal war.
In certain aspects, maybe even worse than World War II. Now, don't quote me. I'm not an expert, but that trench warfare and that chlorine gas. Oh God, that scares me more than bullets and tank warfare.
You had an odd combination of horse and buggy, horse-drawn carriages, and then you had tanks, and you had it was an odd mishmash of germ warfare, and I mean that's where airplanes were first put into service. It was an odd war.
Did they use germ warfare in World War I?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that's what it got banned. It was so brutal. Mustard gas, particularly. Mustard gas is really, really nasty.
Yeah, but mustard gas is chemical.
Well, Red Baron started out as a cavalry officer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Manfred von Richthofen.
And I do know that towards the end of World War II, Russia
Red
was
Baron started out as a cavalry officer. Yeah.
at the end of World War II. I know that Russia was fielding horses again because they were just
Sorry.
out of machines, you know. So,
I
but
mean,
what
just
my
imagine
point
you're
being is that
fighting war by digging, and you're fighting from wet, cold trenches in France,
Right.
and it was just this war, like not much better than just lining up in the 1776 and shooting each other and see if you could hit them.
well, you know, everybody knows the Snoopy and the Red Baron, and because Charles Schultz, you know, was a World War One vet, you know, and he was still a young man making peanuts. Like World War One was still fresh in people's minds. You know, if you weren't a vet, your children, you know, you had, so nobody wanted to go to World War II. So seeing Captain America punching Hitler in what year was that? 39, 40? You know, it was before
1940, right?
Yeah, so that was like, you know, comic books are escapism, you know, and that was like a little, you know, we want to read these comic books and we don't want to get involved in war again. Like you said, Pearl Harbor came. Now we got the conspiracy cryptids guy over here, T Bunny. Is it debunked that that FDR knew the Pearl Harbor was going to happen, or he allowed it to happen to get us into the war?
Absolutely not.
So he didn't know.
Absolutely not. It's been proven that he had prior knowledge.
He did have prior
It's
knowledge.
been proven he has prior knowledge, but his
I was going to say
his
that
inner
too.
circle decided to not act on the.
T Bunny is correct.
What's that?
I was going to say that too, but I decided to shut my mouth. I didn't want to piss anybody off.
Well, I also heard, and I guess T Bunny is the guy to ask. He's very knowledgeable about this kind of stuff. That Winston Churchill broke Nazi codes, and he found out that they were going to do an air raid, and he allowed it to happen because he figured it was more important for the Nazis to not know that we broke their code and basically sacrificed whatever collateral damage. Does that mean he's a bad? I don't know. Like to
Yeah,
me,
they had the Enigma code broken, but they couldn't. They chose which people to warn and what not to warn, and so they basically had to pick and choose what they saved and what they didn't save. So, like if a ship was being like targeted and it wasn't strategic, they had to basically let those people die, and so that was like the choice that they had to make.
Yeah, that to me is the hard choice of war. But to let Pearl Harbor happen to get us into the war, that to me is, I'm controversial. I'm not a big fan of FDR. I know.
He extended the war so he could secure himself. I mean, he extended the Depression so he could secure himself a third. See, not too many people know. Yeah, back in the day, a president could run for more than 2 terms.
Right.
So he extended it so he could get another term, and then he needed to jumpstart the economy. He needed to jumpstart it. So he was like, "How are we going to jumpstart it?" Well, what jumpstarts an economy? A war. Oh, and that's basically the main reason why he did that.
Well, you got to read a book called The Forgotten Man by Amity Shales, and it basically explains the economic policies of FDR, and it breaks them down by month, by year, and it shows you how at the end of FDR's term it was just as bad as the beginning of his term. He really he gets way too much credit. But to me, I mean, he put people in concentration camps, and then the fact that people could hand wave that away is unbelievable. But another thing, he went door to door and confiscated people's personal wealth, their gold.
The gold.
Yeah.
And another thing, John, that people don't remember, the IRS was supposed to be just a quick thing at the end of World War I. It was supposed to go away after a while.
Wait for World War I to finally end so we can stop having the income tax. But anyway, that's enough real world politics. So we I just wanted to bring that up, that how shocking that was, have this cover at the time, that Kirby and Simon, and this was before Stan Lee, these guys were getting like death threats for this, because they were like, listen, man, we don't want to get involved in this freaking war, So,
But oddly enough, the comic book that supposedly pissed off Hitler, Martin Bormann, but Hitler, was the one-page comic in, I don't know what issue of Look magazine, but it was the comic that was, what if Superman fought fought in the war, and he basically flies to Germany and gets Hitler, and he flies to Russia and gets Stalin, and then he puts him into the World Court, and it was like a one-page thing. Oh man, supposedly Hitler was really pissed off about that one, and that predates Captain America #1.
yeah. So, T Bunny, we'll start with you. So we were talking about who would win in a fight, Captain America or Batman, and Marcus gave us pretty much a good history lesson on Captain America. Tony gave us a good history lesson.
I could give more. I could go through the whole history.
Yeah, I know. We could talk for hours about both these characters.
Captain America, yeah.
These characters are really flagged. Like, you throw in Superman and Spider-Man.
I did want to say, when you had that cover up, the one thing we know about Captain America, that he has virtually the same costume today as that he had back then. The difference is that helmet that he wore he had open neck. They changed that very quickly. He got the circular shield. And when he came back in the 60s, they wrapped the stripes around his back. They did not have the stripes around his back in the 40s and the 50s. And that's it. It's until they decided Brian Hitch decided to draw every loop, ruining every artist's world, making comics really harder. Thank you.
I do like that it's chainmail, or more accurately, it's scale mail. Yeah,
they always drew it was always supposed to be chainmail. They always drew that. They just didn't draw every.
Right. Yeah. I took it down already, but I wanted to point out how that Kirby Captain America, the star of the shield was off. Kirby always had wonderful imperfections that drove me nuts as a kid, but now I find him charming as an adult.
I find that I go back to the 60s Marvel, and they're doing these comics, and the stars aren't perfect. Nobody's using any ellipse for the shield. There's a little shaky in spots, and you read it, you don't care. Right. Now, if you did, oh my God.
That's why, right now,
do that.
Right now, it drives me nuts, and I keep out of it, and I'm not going to mention factions within the indie sphere, but this side's picking on this guy's art because this leg is slightly, and it's
that's not
like, knock it off. Have you read comics? I'm pretty forgiving about that. Like,
it doesn't. Well,
there's guys that I don't like, and I see their art, and I'm like, that's fine. And there's guys that I like.
The odd thing about it is those are the guys who, like, Liefeld is their god, and I'm like,
that's here.
Are
the
you
most
kidding
ironic thing is on the studio, and I'm not going to say too much about it. That I wasn't there one episode, and they went in on the guy who did the artist who drew on X-Force 13, Mark Pacella. I never bought X-Force 13, and they decided that was the worst comic of all time, and they were going to redraw it. You see it all over X now, right? The bootleg version. We're going to do it better, and I'm not going to reserve judgment. I've seen it. Let's go like this, whether it's better or not. And I said, well, it doesn't look it doesn't look any different, that much different to Liefeld to me. And they all thought I was nuts. Like, Liefeld was so much better than Mark Pacella. Mark Pacella clearly told to draw like Liefeld, like many artists at that time, right? Which is why I didn't buy X-Force. So. It's been like I didn't do it. I couldn't do it, and then my dad broke his leg, so I'm not involved in it.
I'm pretty forgiving. Like, there's certain artists, they bust his chops because he always puts the same face. Well, John Byrne used the same face, and I love John Byrne.
We all do the similar faces.
George Perez used the same face for a long time until like, I'd say like a third into his Teen Titans run before he started developing consistent different faces. So, I don't know. I think just because you don't like this guy or like that guy, at least have your criticisms be valid.
I agree, and that's on all sides of everybody. Right. Yeah,
that's why, like, when I get involved in drama, there's things that I just don't say because it's silly. But anyway, so now we're going to talk about Captain America and Batman fighting it out. Now, I'm going to reserve my judgment for last, but let's define. I think which, for the most part, there's Golden Age Captain America, and then there's Silver Age, and now Captain America. There's not really that difference. Tony, Marcus, T Buddy, do you think the Golden Age Captain America and the Avengers #4 and on, is there any real difference?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the only difference in Captain America is his personality. Like the 60s when they were going for that soap opera drama, he was a little more morose. For Bucky, he wasn't quite developed as the great leader of men, like he's the greatest leader of men ever. He was a little more, that didn't develop until like later.
The world has. I'm a man out of time,
Yeah, they did a lot of that, and then and you get the feeling that he got more experience than the one in the 40s, and the 40s was like, "Hey, Bucky, I'm having my pipe. Let's go have an adventure." A little Bruce Wayne, although he didn't have the money, but
Yeah. So,
because all those guys
so there's only one version of Captain America, but Batman. I was laying out the case that there's at least 4 versions, maybe there's more. So I'm just gonna say, Bat God beats anybody, and it's the most ridiculous version of Batman, if you ask me. So I'm gonna say like the typical Batman, like the detective animated series Batman. To me, that's the best version.
Yes.
And nobody gets prep time because Batman with prep time beats anybody. Captain America with prep time and beats anybody. So they both throw it into a situation and they got to fight.
Right before going into Amalgam, they had a fight in the sewer. Remember? And,
is that the one when they? Oh no, I'm thinking the Justice League Avengers. Batman Captain America got to a stage and Batman was just like, we're not going to fight.
I remember that. Yeah,
it was the lead up to Amalgam, the Amalgam crossover.
Amalgamated?
Amalgam.
Well, I mean, if you want to call it amalgam, that's fine.
Yeah.
That amalgam is the right way to pronounce it, but they were calling it amalgam. Okay.
Really? I never knew that.
They were calling it amalgam, but it is the word is amalgam. But
okay, I always said amalgam.
Well, but they did several that they did like the verses to kind of kick it off, and it was Captain America versus Batman, and whoever wrote it obviously had a Batman like slant.
Peter David wrote all those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Peter David at heart is more of a DC guy than a Marvel, even though he did a lot of work for Marvel. But the thing about it is, though, is I love Peter David. Peter David's one of my favorite writers of all time, but he did kind of like cheat. He did allow Batman to kind of like cheat, okay? Because Captain America had him cold. And then suddenly he pulls something completely out of his ass. And
I remember that, yeah.
And it always kind of galled me a little bit because I was like, because I felt like it was the writer that was cheating on behalf of Batman.
That's a good point.
Didn't they have the fans vote on those?
They did, and the fans did vote Batman won.
And I remember that Aquaman, who could never beat Submariner ever, just called a whale and smashed Submariner like in a panel, and that was that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Superman versus the Hulk. That one, yeah, I think Superman won that one.
I just want to say, Tony, I keep muting your mic because there's crazy sound.
But Peter David.
Hold on, Cooper. So Tony, I don't want to mute your mic. So could you mute your mic and then before you talk, turn it back on?
Sure.
All right. So
that keeps happening.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it's
Yeah, I wonder why.
Okay.
All right. So
anyway.
So I don't know. So they're facing up. I'm trying to think like they don't recognize each other, or Batman's being a jerk. Captain America, he needs to get the MacGuffin from point A to point B or whatever. But now they're fighting. So I picture it like a rooftop, in a city. They both have like the home field advantage in that type of place. Now, how, how do you think that fight goes? What do you think?
Well,
Anybody? Okay.
personally, I think that pure combat, Captain America is going to take Batman, but Captain America also has the Boy Scout kind of like he doesn't cheat, and Batman is willing to cheat. Uh, Batman goes up against people all the time that have no moral code and are basically way overpowered. So Batman cheats a lot more than Captain America does, and so it's almost the 50-50, depending on if it's just pure combat. If they're in like a squared circle and doing like a one-on-one combat, then Captain America is going to kick his butt. Even with all the training that Batman has done, Captain America is like the pinnacle of martial ability in the Marvel universe. He's kind of like because Batman will always say that Lady Shiva is better than him, and Richard Dragon's better than him. But
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
But Marvel, Captain America is the pinnacle. There's nobody better than Captain America. There's people as good, but there's nobody better. And he's the one that trains everybody. And so if it's just pure fighting ability, I'm giving the edge to Captain America. But when it comes to, cheating and doing whatever it takes to win, even if it's dubious, Batman's going to do that. He's already working off of it as a vigilante anyway, and he's the ends justify the means guy. And Captain America is always how I win is as important as if I win. And Batman is just like, I got to win. I don't care how I get there. I'm going to get the win. And so it's just like any given Sunday as the who's going to win between the two. If you were to go 10 on 10, I would say it'd be 5-5. So
all right, Tony, what do you
draw? It's always going to be a draw.
Batman has got the better training. Batman is the better fighter, in my opinion, but Captain America is a space marine. He's a Warhammer space marine without the armor. Fight with no prep time, spur of the moment. Batman's going to be a greasy spot. I give it to Captain America.
Oh, he's definitive with that. There's boom, 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 in and out. Marcus, what do you think?
Well, like the Batman cheating, I think that's more modern. Like, I think that's true, but I think like the if you're talking about the animated Batman, I don't know if the animated like Batman cheats or the Batman from 1968 cheats or even like the Neil Adams Batman cheats. But I think the Batman since like
Adam West
does cheat, yes. So it depends. Like Batman's had a lot of different versions of himself, like space, science fiction Batman, maybe he wins that beats everybody. I don't know, The Batman 66 had every gimmick known to mankind, but he was like, hey, that was like a moral guy. But because I'm a Marvel guy and I'm a Captain American guy and I'm sick of Batman, and I love to draw Batman. He always sketched Batman. It's really cool.
Yeah, he's one of the best looking.
Like, and they have the greatest both have the greatest costumes ever. Like they're up there, top 5. So I always lean on the Captain America because he's the greatest fighting man. And he goes to John's thing like, who's the best at what they do? Captain America's the best fighting man. And that's in his own unique style of fighting, combination of power, brute force, like Punisher's brute force fighter, right? He doesn't have a lot of moves, and he's going to drop like a big right on you, like a boxer. And but Captain America box, he could do this, he could do that. He's maneuverable enough to fight Iron Man and to a standstill in a lot of ways. Although in the movie he's superpower, so that doesn't count. But I'm in the comics, and so I think as a fighting man, he wins. Not that Batman hasn't been trained greatly, but that's how I feel. But does Batman use his utility belt? If he uses utility belt and and Captain America uses shield. That's always the difference. Without either or, I think Captain America wins.
I this is the way I look at it. This is going to be like,
it's basically a tie, though. I mean,
it's going to be an ultimate fight over here. So they're fighting for whatever reason. I'm too sleepy to come up with a scenario where they're fighting, but I think after a move or two, kind of like in that Avengers Batman, that Avengers Justice League, they're going to recognize this is a fight. This isn't some goofball. This is a serious fight. So I think I do think Batman's more intelligent. So Batman's going to have to recognize, I got to take this guy out quick or I'm going to lose. So Batman's got to do something sneaky. And he's like, this guy's, if I start throwing karate chops at this guy, I'm going to be hitting shields and I'm going to be busting up my knuckles. And, and if I'm throwing kicks back, Captain America can deflect.
I do think that when, like in Winter Soldier, where Batroc the Leaper got Captain America to put his shield away and fight him hand to hand. I do think that was very.
Batman's smart enough to realize that this guy's quick. I'm going to be busting. He's going to throw a karate chop shield. Captain America, he's got human. So he's either going to like reach for gas or grenade, things like that. Now, to me, that's because without any of that stuff, Batman's going down. I think Captain America is physically stronger than him. I think Captain America could last longer before Batman's going to get tired first. So if in a long fight, Captain America just crushes him. So the trick is Batman has to come up with some way to outsmart Batman. So as much as I'm tired of Batman, I really want to see him taken down a peg. I do think Batman has a good chance. If he doesn't win outright, Captain America crushes him. So I'm gonna say, like you did the out of 10. I say it's 4 times Batman wins, 6 times Captain America wins, because and again, this is so stupid to say, but the second time Batman wins because he's gonna come prepared. But the first time they don't know each other, whatever. I think. And I also I always default to this, and so I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. I subscribe to the John Byrne method. The specialist wins.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
And Batman is a jack of many trades. He's the best detective, and he's even in his own universe, he's not the best hand-to-hand combatant. Whereas that's all Captain America is the fighter guy. You know what I mean? Although I do think Captain America would lose to like Shang-Chi, because literally, like, Shang-Chi is not the leader. He's not the patriot. He's just the fighter guy. So what good is Shang-Chi? So there you go. Like another controversial one is Punisher versus Batman. I think we did that, right? But
they did Punisher. I remember that Batman just took Punisher out with one punch. I mean, enough of you. You're just in the Perez and Busick book,
right? I think
it was really kind of funny, right? Like, oh, you're a loser, pal.
It's fun to see the Punisher just killing people, but like, if Batman gets his hands on Punisher, fight's over.
Well, no, fight's over. Yeah, but Punisher, he's a fighter, but he's not a gymnast and he's not an acrobat.
And I think that if Captain America gets his hands on Batman, the fight's over. And I think Batman is too much of a powerhouse. I mean, Captain America is too much of a powerhouse. He will overpower Batman given time. So Batman has to do something quick and decisive early on in order to win. What is that? That's the X factor. That's the utility belt. You know what I mean? Like, does he have grenades? Does he? You know what I mean? Like smoke bombs. Like, his Captain America, a shield ain't gonna protect you from gas grenades. And then we got that cheesy Batman versus the Hulk comic where he kicked Hulk in the stomach and made Hulk breathe in and stuck a gas grenade in his mouth.
Yeah, that I don't understand.
That was the writer just. We can't have Batman losing too bad to the Hulk.
Well, that's like a weird idea for a crossover anyway. Like Batman, Captain America. Why would you even think of that crossover?
Captain. Because they did the Superman Spider-Man.
Well, one thing about Captain America is one thing about Captain America though is that what the serum did for him was it made him like peak of human ability. He's like if you took all the Olympic athletes and put them in one human,
Right.
You got the weightlifting of the weightlifters. You got the gymnastics of the gymnast. You got, the speed of a track star. It just put him like at the peak of what's possible as a human. When it comes to Batman, that's all him training. His training is what raised him to the level that he's at. But so if you're just talking about pure physicality. There's very few people that can touch Captain America with just pure physicality.
Right.
And in the Golden Age, it was only half a page of training.
When you,
yeah, that's like
right.
Does anybody?
But it's like John Walker.
Batman, I think would beat John Walker.
Well, John
Walker was like. Well, I mean,
he didn't have the super soldier.
John Walker was like enhanced by the power broker.
He had suit.
No, he was enhanced by the power broker.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But he's got the super strength that Captain America doesn't have. But 1-on-1, Captain America was able to beat him just by sheer technique and his flexibility. John Walker didn't have. But
if you reread those are pretty brutal.
Yeah,
that was a pretty brutal series where John Walker's parents got killed, and then he just started killing people. In a Captain America costume. It was crazy stuff.
So
way ahead of its time.
So people in the chat, what do you guys think? Who do you think? Who you called it for? Batman, Captain America, and what do you want to do for next week? Anybody have any? I want to stick back with this guy versus that guy, or this team versus that team. We kind of got a little, weird.
By the way, R.I.P. Bat Sauce. He got suspended on X today.
Oh, really?
Did he really?
Yeah. What did he do? Bat Sauce, come on in. We'll give you a voice. Come on in.
Yeah.
When
he got
usually not suspended forever.
Well, this got suspended for imitating a judge. Is the why he got suspended?
Well, I guess that's not something I thought of.
It's obviously somebody reported him out of spite, but but that happened today.
Is that Judge? I'm a retard. We all know it's not real. Hey, Zaid's here. How you doing? How you doing?
Right.
I've met that sauce.
Joker versus the Green Goblin.
I'm a soccer judge. Oh, there you go. So he is a judge. The match is a draw. What did you say? Green Goblin versus who?
I said, how about like Joker versus the Green Goblin, Hank Pym versus Ray Palmer?
Did we ever do that one? The Atom versus Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Well, that's Hank Pym versus Ray Palmer, sure.
Oh, I kind of like that. The Battle of the Midgets.
We could do that.
I don't know. I always had everybody seems to goof on guys who shrink, but I always thought that was like I wouldn't want it. I mean, let's be real. If I could pick one superpower, it's not to get to the size of an ant. But I do like Ant-Man and Atom. You guys want to do that next week?
Sure.
Ant-Man versus Atom? Okay, we'll talk about little miniature guys. So that's one thing out of the way. I'm just curious to see in the chat we have Bat Sauce said, he was being hilarious.
Oh, hey Zaid. Hey
Abrax says it's a draw, and KO just says Batman wins.
I don't have any issue with it.
I just think I think Batman unfairly is given with prep time, and we forget like how many superheroes are geniuses. It's like the average superhero is smarter than the average bear. They can all come up with them. Like, Richard Rider comes up with plans every once in a while if he knows he needs to. Moon Knight, Batman, Spider-Man, they all come up with plans. Reed Richards, give that guy some prep time, and next thing you know, the fight's already over because he went back in time and took care of
Yeah,
it.
but he's only like the fourth smartest guy in the Marvel universe now.
Yeah, I know.
Smartest person is Moon Girl, right?
There's a black embryo that's smarter than him.
No, Moon Girl, that Moon Girl, the 8-year-old, 12-year-old who rides Devil Dinosaur that they made change from Moon Boy to a black girl.
Yeah,
that's it. That came out on one of those magazine lists, and like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
oh my gosh, this is why nobody buys your comic books. Oh please,
yeah, It comes
Well,
off disingenuous.
I think Amadeus Cho is ahead of Reed Richards now.
Not anymore. He's lower. He's lower now. They knocked him down.
Oh, because I remember he used
got knocked up.
He used to say he was the fourth smartest guy. You know,
Amadeus. I read some of that. He was insufferable.
Yeah, that's what started the whole your boy Zach with what did he call him? He had a weird name. The Gogurt Hulk. Yeah.
The Gogurt Hulk, right. It was drawn well. Frank Cho drew it. Oh boy, those book comics look. I mean, I don't have them, but I've seen some of the artwork. They look great.
Yeah, I got that run.
He's a spectacular artist.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal artist. All right, so next week we'll do Ant-Man versus the Atom.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's a good one. And I'm falling asleep here. You know, I have a long day, and staying up at midnight is too much. I can't wait for my schedule to get back to normal. So we'll start with T Bunny and we'll go around. T Bunny, anything you want to talk about, promote, say before we go?
We're going to do a Cryptids and Conspiracies tomorrow night on Bible Code. I'm setting it up the stream now. If you're available, John.
Sure. What time?
7:00 tomorrow night, Eastern.
Eastern. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Bible Code. I don't know anything about it. You got a reference you want me to check out?
I'll send you the reference clips or some research for you. So I do all the work for everybody. I do the research and everything, and I send it to them. So
cool. So
I get it. Yeah. Go ahead.
So T Bunny has his own channel, Telepathic Bunny Comics on YouTube, and every other Saturday we talk about conspiracies, cryptids. I love that kind of stuff. I mean, if you're into comic books, that's just like seeds for comic book stories. It's so good. I'm still trying to work in what do we call them? Those radio stations, ghost stations, number stations.
Ghost stations. Yeah.
I'm still trying to come up with a good story about number stations. I find them creepy. Yeah. Tony, anything you want to say? Oh, I got a super chat. I didn't realize this. RRTNZ, Captain America wins. Yep. We kind of agreed with that. I don't think I have few people probably mad. You know, Batman is one of those guys that people get really, really like.
Oh yeah. You see a lot of it. Yeah, absolute Batman. They argue like crazy, and like that's not Batman. Hey, that's a nice cover that guy drew, but it's still not Batman.
Well, that's my opinion. Batman and Wolverine.
That's my opinion. I agree with you on that one.
Batman and Wolverine to me seem to have like the most like rabid fan base.
Really vociferous fans.
But Tony, anything you want to say before we go?
Watch T Bunny's channel, watch Marcus draw stuff, and buy Heroic Tales, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. And go to the Frontier and get a cinnamon roll. I gotta go. I gotta go on an eating tour of Albuquerque. Marcus, anything you want to say?
Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot watch you, T Bunny, because I am streaming on the studio tomorrow. They are going over their bootleg version of X-Force 13, which I did not do. Maybe sometime in private, I'll tell you really why. I won't say it now. I might say it on stream tomorrow because I'll say anything without cursing. And yeah, I'll be at Heroes Con.
When did Heroes Con?
I did want to. I'll show this again. This is the Canadian Shield. Rick, he took my drawing from the thing and made a cover of his ash can. You could get this and his other comic. This is the only thing I did for him at crosscomics.com. Crosscomics.ca is Canadian. So he just sent me like 8 of these. He sent it from Canada. It's cost him $8 a comic and 8 like comps. And that's kind of fun. And that's about it. And, you know, I'll be on the Hump Day show. We just kind of hang out there.
Okay. So there we go. So Heroes Con is June. So I think I'll be able to have time off again. So
In June, yeah.
Yeah.
Around Father's Day.
That'll make it fun to go. And of course, Heroic Tales 2 is still available at Fund My Comic right now. I will be closing down this campaign page sooner rather than later and opening up just my permanent Longbox Comics store with all the merch and everything like that. And then as campaigns end, they'll go there. So there'll always be a place that I could put cards when I go to Comic Cons and stuff like that. You know, an eternal site that so my cards won't have a shelf life. You know,
Great idea.
I was going to work on it after this, but I'm just too sleepy to concentrate. So, and we'll see you next week. We'll do Ant-Man versus the Atom. And Sunday, I will be doing the first appearance of Alpha Flight in the X-Men. That's X-Men 120.
That's a good one.
Great comic. And I've been lax in scheduling guests for my show because of this weird schedule. It's going till February 20th, my schedule at work. And then I'll get back to my channel, you know.
I have one more thing. It looks like next Saturday I'll be on Rex, Hex, and Apex at noon. They asked me today, next Saturday at noon, which I can do because I'm off work.
Oh, tomorrow.
They actually asked me, which I'm like, wow, that's nice.
If Fabrizio Aiello gets his Mr. X comic early tomorrow and gets a chance to read it, we might actually do post-tensions tomorrow.
Oh, Mr. X. Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's that. Yep. All right, I'll see you guys. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
It's
Have
time
a great
to
night.
say goodbye, kids.